What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Barbecue summer is here. Whether you're at home or going to the beach, lake, mountains, or city, be sure to support your local barbecue businesses. From the butcher shops to the pit masters and food trucks, pop-ups, and neighborhood joints, for dine-in or catering, Carolina Barbecue Festival reminds you to visit your locally owned businesses for barbecue summer. Visit CarolinaBBQFest.org for a list of local pit masters that'll get you started. And while you're at CarolinaBBQFest.org, be sure to sign up and stay connected. You'll get all the latest details on upcoming events and coming soon, official dates for the 2027 Carolina Barbecue Festival. Until then, be sure to enjoy barbecue summer with your locally owned barbecue businesses. We know local barbecue festivals are also a big part of every local barbecue summer, and we're fresh off the road from a visit to one of the biggest festivals in the Carolinas. South Carolina Festival of Discovery was a big time full of friends, food, great blues music, all in the middle of a thriving town of Greenwood in South Carolina's upstate. I'm Chigger Willard. Today, we'll talk about the South Carolina Festival of Discovery, the winners, my behind-the-scenes experiences, maybe a few challenging questions about the event's economic impact. First, there's big news in Carolina barbecue. Sweet Lewis Donald delivered the scoop moments after we launched last week, really just before we hit the road to Greenwood for the weekend. Save the date, everybody. Get your tickets now. The Southern Living Luncheon with Legends is happening Sunday, September 20th from 11 to 2 p.m. at Hunter Farm in Weddington. Those 5 pitmaster legends, all named by Southern Living as the future of Southern barbecue. Listen up. Evan Leroy of Leroy and Lewis in Austin, Hector Garate from Palmyra Barbecue in Charleston, Zach Parker from B.E. Scott's Barbecue in Lexington, Elliot Moss from Elliot's Barbecue Lounge in Florence, and of course, Lewis Donald from Sweet Lou's in Charlotte, put together by the Charlotte Regional Visitors Bureau, Southern Living, Sweet Lou, all the good people that do that stuff. Tickets now on sale, luncheonwithlegends.com, and there's only 200 available. They've been on sale almost a week now. The event's going to sell out. You'll want to get yours now. Get them today, luncheonwithlegends.com. We'll be talking more about that event. Hopefully get one of those organizers, Robert Moss, the one behind picking some of those future of Southern barbecue legends, on the podcast here very soon. Today, let's take it back to the South Carolina Festival of Discovery in Greenwood, South Carolina. We talked about it in our past couple of episodes. Now we've experienced it. So excited, so glad I was able to spend a day on Saturday in Greenwood. Man, what a time. 90 plus teams all participating. 28 of those guys competed in the People's Choice Awards. More than 70 were part of the KCBS competition. And of course, for you folks that have been listening, you know the top 2 qualifiers from that competition have punched their ticket to the Las Vegas Barbecue World Cup coming up in April 2027. I know there's about 40 folks that are already in that competition. 2 of them came from Greenwood during the weekend. The festival also included the kids competition, and we had some young people out there cooking. That went down Friday night. And there was a hot dog eating competition on the schedule, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. In fact, it was canceled. 9 competitors were signed up to do it. They were getting ready to happen, or 9 competitors were ready to do it. It was getting ready to happen, and then a big storm blows into the Festival of Discovery. It went on for an hour and a half or so, and I mean, it was thunder and lightning, heavy rain. That canceled the event. From our friends over at the Index Journal say that the people still ate hot dogs under the tent, but they got out of the rain and they canceled that particular festivities. While I'm talking about the weather, apparently you can't talk about South Carolina Festival of Discovery without mentioning the heat. And yes, folks, it is hot in Greenwood, South Carolina on the second weekend of July. Probably by 10 a.m., I was soaked in sweat, having walked up and down Main Street a couple of times. That heat and the humidity building up into the 90s, close to the hundreds. Nice thing is we had that storm come through, gave everybody a chance to go inside a favorite business, a local music venue. I camped out for a little while in my van, got some water and some cool air, plugged in the charger so I could get some more videos charged or the phone charged for more videos. And so it was a great reprieve. And then right after that, storm clears out, the air's cooler. Everybody gets back out and enjoys the festival for the remainder of its final day, Saturday. And again, that's big festival competition day. And I want to talk about the music in just a second. But of course, this is a barbecue deal. We're talking about the competition. So we got to talk about the big winners in this year's festival. Number one, top of the heap, Kokomoke Smoke Barbecue. Cody Turner, the pitmaster from Pensacola, Florida, finished the grand champion of the 2026 Festival of Discovery. He actually finished first in brisket, ninth in pork, and ninth in chicken as well. He's got a lot of other points down the rankers there amongst those 70 competitors into the contest. He had the most points to qualify as the grand champion. Almost as important, the reserve grand champion. Also, in this case, you get that qualification for the Barbecue World Cup. It goes to Maya Jane Barbecue from Evans, Georgia. Congratulations to Kokomoke Smoke Barbecue and Maya Jane. Opportunity to win $1 million at the Barbecue World Cup in Las Vegas. Of course, they won prizes and cash and renown here at the South Carolina Festival of Discovery too. And what I understand, Cody Turner, this was his first time attending Festival of Discovery. He's been on the barbecue circuit in the competition realm here for a few years now, looking for a big win, wanted to come here for the first time, scored that win. He's now going to be going to Vegas as well as taking home a check for $3,000 specifically for that particular award. Other winners in the competition, I'm just going to hit the number one finish. You can check out the newsletter coming out this week. I'll have the top 10 included there as well. So for chicken, it was Smoke and Ash, another team from Florida. Pork ribs, Backwoods Barbecue was the winner. Willingham's won for pork. I mentioned Kokomoke Smoke Barbecue, number one in brisket. They have the hash competition judged specifically and only by people from South Carolina. Smoke Central Barbecue was the winner there. Friday night, they had the Wing Showdown. Backwoods Barbecue picked up another victory then. They were the winner of the Wing Showdown. Bourbon and Blues Barbecue, that's a veteran-owned food truck, I believe, from Wilmington, North Carolina. They won for the dessert competition this year. Let's talk about the kids competition quickly. Baby Racks won for kids barbecue. Then Junior Q, Smoke Till You Broke. Junior, of course, with the junior automatically assume, yes, mom and dad are up there in the Smoke Till You Broke competition team as well. And I saw their name in there and some of the rankers as well. Congratulations to them. The competition everybody gets to participate in if they want to is the People's Choice Awards. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a couple of minutes. But first, I'll tell you the winner was Cherrywood Smoke Barbecue at Osprey Point. For those who know, it's at the resort at Kiowa Island. They're along the coast of South Carolina. And I'll tell you, they served a big tray of barbecue, had a full sampling of their sauces out there. And, I went by and I tasted every one of the sauces. I got to admit, Cherrywood Barbecue was among the best ones that I tasted out there. And their vinegary sauce, their signature blend, really nice. I enjoyed it very much. So congratulations to those guys for winning the People's Choice. I have a couple more awards at the South Carolina Festival of Discovery. First is the South Carolina Governor's Award. That goes to the highest score for a South Carolina team. Congratulations for the Fred Vegas Smokers. The Gerald Ledbetter Award goes to the top team score from Greenwood. That goes to Annie Mays. A couple other quick notes. 5 of those top teams, I found this kind of interesting. 5 of the top 10 teams in the overall competition, they came from Georgia. 2 were from North Carolina, 2 from Florida, 1 from Tennessee. Congratulations to all those teams that competed. Kind of keep that regional geography in your mind. We'll get talking a little bit about the festival here in just a few moments. We'll talk now about the music. And, the days have been busy with barbecue and festival stuff, but then at night, it really turns into an exciting venue all around Uptown Greenwood with blues music. They got the main stage. They have the Waller Avenue acoustic stage, Flynn's on Maxwell, a couple of other different venues all straddled around town. Blues music coming out everywhere you go, especially in the evening time. And that was something that was really cool. I was able to slip into Flynn's on Maxwell. That's where Sir Rod and the Blues Doctors featuring Alan Gussow were performing for a little while. Had a couple of cold beverages, enjoyed them on the afternoon, Saturday afternoon. And man, they really put on a great show. Super cool to hear those guys. The day Saturday started with Shrimp City Slim. He got the music going there. And by the way, I mentioned this in the Instagram. I'll get it right on the podcast. Shrimp City Slim, Gary Irvin won the Order of the Longleaf Palmetto. I'm sorry, I almost said Longleaf. That's North Carolina. See, I'm trying to clean it up. I've almost messed it up again. They won the Order of the Palmetto Award. That's the highest civilian honor passed along to a civilian in South Carolina. So not really a win thing, but he was recognized by the state of South Carolina with the Order of the Palmetto. So congratulations to Gary Irvin. That recognition comes due 25 years or so of musical direction for Festival of Discovery and keeping the blues heritage and music all alive all around South Carolina. He's really meant a lot to the music and the heritage and culture for South Carolina. So well-deserved honor. I did see him running around the festival a couple of different times, always had a phone up to his face or always directing event volunteers. So you could tell he was somebody right in the middle of things, busy and getting things done. So cool to see him receive that award. Daytime crowds, I will say it took a little bit of time to get going in the afternoon. It was slow in the morning, then the rain came and kind of took everybody out. Then after the rain, it started kind of filling up, more people in the street, especially down that main street where they've got it closed down and vendors are lining both sides of the road. A lot of bodies crowded in there. And then right up to the awards ceremony, a lot of people packing into the area there. Something next year that I thought about, maybe they have a beer and wine garden. And I know they're already talking about this. And I know it's great to go into the local businesses and get some of those refreshing beverages. But it seemed like there was a stage, that Waller Avenue stage was in an area where it could have something else and maybe draw a few more people in to see some of those performers and enjoy a cold beverage while they're there as well. So again, I think the festival folks have already suggested that. They're seeking input on it. So maybe that's something that they'll have for next year. But overall, I will have to say all the participants in the festival really, really love what they're doing out there. Each one I talked to a person, asked them why they kept coming back. They said the way the city has organized it, the way the people are so helpful. They've got everything that you need when you come in. They're ready for you. They know what to expect. And then, of course, there's having all your brothers and sisters and barbecue there with you as well. And so a big part of why folks keep coming back is that familiarity, and the familiarity not just among the competitors, but also with the people that are organizing the event. It was very clear during the awards that the city manager and Gibson Hill, the organizer, they really know these competitors and have become friends with them over the years. I also know that the city of Greenwood has made a major investment in infrastructure that supports this festival right there in that sort of the median for Main Street. They've put a lot into power and water and sewer infrastructure that is all really integral to having sort of these big festival vendor tents and cook stations and all that stuff going on in the middle of town. You could do it without it, but it sure makes it a lot easier and a lot more accommodating to have all that right there as well. So that's another part of it too. The competitors say where the cities are making a big investment in these festivals, that's where you're really seeing some of the success happen most frequently. Now, how does the town love the whole festival? Well, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that here to come. But I will say that Greenville is a beautiful town. It's a vibrant downtown community. They've also got a larger commercial district with mall and shopping. Went out and visited that area a little bit. Lake Greenwood, kind of the first thing you see coming in from Clinton, coming over the hill, and there's Lake Greenwood. I caught it just after sunrise on Saturday morning. I know that Lake Greenwood probably drives a lot of the local economy during the summer. In the festival, the city staff was fully engaged with the project, working super hard. Again, they've really got it planned out well so that everything you need, from food and beverages to events for the kids to things that support the businesses, to the barbecue, it's all toilets. Don't forget the toilets, the stages, it's all there. They've got it figured out. It may not be a finely oiled, smooth running machine, but it sure does look like it. So big things happening in Greenwood. They have, by the way, the festival and flowers was still going on. It happened in June. So a lot of those topiary structures were still kind of around town. So festival of flowers in June. Then they have barbecue and blues every July. That's two pretty great reasons to visit South Carolina's old District 96, the old 96 district, I should say. And before we go behind the scenes with some of the competition barbecue conversation, I do want to invite you to visit the old 96 district. In South Carolina's upper western section of the state, the district includes Greenwood and Greenwood County, as well as the counties of Abbeville, Lawrence, Edgefield, and McCormick. Across all 5 of those counties, there are miles of hiking, biking, walking trails, pristine freshwater lakes, a remarkable list of history attractions, vibrant collections of local shops and restaurants. Discover South Carolina's unexpected wonders when you go to visit old96sc.com. That's your connection to the accommodations, the attractions, and all the tips you need to plan your trip to the Old 96 District. Last year in September, they were hosting the Squealing on the Square in Lawrence, and there was Hogs and Hens in Abbeville. 2 really unique and beautiful towns, cool festivals. I was able to make the trip down there in September. And, I mentioned Lake Greenwood at the southern part of the district is Hickory Knob State Park and Resort on Lake Thurmond. Really nice facilities. They've got archery, canoeing, skeet shooting, golf, all that stuff at one place. If arts and culture are your thing, maybe you want to go to Abbeville's Opera House. That's something that I also got to see on that tour. Cool things to see, as well as the Art Center of Greenwood and the historic Federal Building. Another thing that was neat to experience and be part of at the Festival of Discovery. In fact, that Art Center of Greenwood and the historic Federal Building is where all the KCBS sanctioned barbecue judges gathered. They judged the food. All of it happened right there. They brought the bring-in trays. It was all going on. I'll talk about the behind the scenes and my look at what all that involves. But first, I want to talk about the people that were producing the competition barbecue that went into those. First of all and foremost, Ultimate Tailgaters Barbecue. Our old buddy Chris Fulmer and his wife Kathy Fulmer. You may remember them. They were on the podcast here last year, really involved with the Southern Barbecue Network, multi-time champion there, also really involved in South Carolina Gamecock football. Chris is at every one of those games. Thank these folks so much. The Ultimate Tailgaters invited me behind the scenes into their cook trailer to really get a glimpse of what goes into a competition barbecue weekend, really. And you can see so many things there. It's part methodical process. It's part superstition. It's part experience. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. And inside those little trailers that you may see hauling down the road, it's nice and cool. They got some AC working in there, but it's also not as big as it might need to be or as you might think, especially with a couple of people, and you add in a third photographer, a couple of people in there working. You need all hands on deck, and Chris and Kathy really have got kind of a process figured out. It's almost like a dance as they're working together up and down the counter. Each person kind of knows their job. They've done it enough times. It was neat to see. And it was also kind of neat to see all the specific work that goes into, the presentation of the product. They spend all that time, making the flavor of the product work, but the presentation is just as important as well. Seeing Chris kind of nip and trim some little tips and tricks you can do to make your chicken thigh look better than maybe somebody else's. Or if there's a spot on a rib that maybe got nicked in the cooking, you can kind of dress it up with sauce to make it look good. So it was cool to see some of the inner workings of how all those competitions go. And I will say, I asked Chris about his People's Choice submission, what he had out there, and it was very good. You could tell that it was created. It was pulled pork, one of the many pulled porks in the People's Choice competition. You could tell that it was created for the masses, something that would please every palate. He also told me that they may not spend as much time trying to create that People's Choice stuff, certainly as they do on the competition barbecue. That's where the big money's at, competition barbecue. And I'll tell you what, Chris slid me one of those chicken thighs, and you can taste the difference between competition and serving for the masses. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. Hope I didn't reveal anything too deep, dark, and secret, but I really do appreciate Chris and Kathy having me inside and seeing all that. Super nice people. We've enjoyed having them on the show, and check us out on the YouTube channel, because I've got some video and some more pictures and stuff coming up on Instagram. You'll get a look inside the trailer and see what that looks like for those guys, a championship team in their own right. Didn't have such a great weekend, but you can't win them all. And they certainly have won their fair share. Some other folks that I had a chance to meet with, Upstate Hog. By the way, that's a combination of Upstate Smoke Shop and High on the Hog. Had some time to talk with them. Those guys made a great key lime pie dessert. It was kind of a key lime ice cream, and it actually finished third in the desserts competition. So it was neat to catch up and meet some of those folks. Smoking Sweetmeats, they've won 2 out of the last 3 championships at the Festival of Discovery. Sat down and talked with those guys for a little while. Looking forward to hopefully having them on the show very soon. They have a really interesting story, and you can tell that they really do love coming back to Festival of Discovery every year, and they've been coming for many, many years. Our buddy Scott Jarrett from Operation Barbecue Relief. Also, he's talked about his Smoke This competition team. He was at the festival, came in 10th in smoked chicken. Scott's actually among some of the first competitors that started showing up at Festival of Discovery many, many years ago when it got started, actually 25 years ago when it got started. Scott gave us some of that insight too about the competition versus the People's Choice Award. And Scott's out there working. They're doing the vending thing too. So they're selling the barbecue. They're working for the People's Choice Awards. They're doing the competition. If you know Scott, he's kind of a wild and frenetic guy, always on the go, always on the move. And I do appreciate the chance to talk to him. He made some networking connections for this year, and I appreciate that. And it was great to see the Smoke This team come in 10th in smoked chicken. Always enjoy seeing them out in the world. I also enjoy getting a look into that judging piece of the equation. I mentioned that was going on inside the Art Center in the Federal Building there in Uptown Greenwood. I saw all the judges kind of start filing in at 10 o'clock. I pulled Gibson aside, got a quick interview with him out there in the garden, and got the green light from him to come in and see it all happen. And it really was quite a well-oiled machine among many of the well-oiled machines in this festival. From the part where you've got volunteers from the fire department, emergency services, bringing in the competition entries in a very organized manner down three avenues, going into bread trays, those bread trays going into the competition hall, those competition entries being tagged and numbered very specifically, taken very specifically to a numbered table, distributed. Each person, they read through the numbers, they show each person the food, they give each person their sample. Everybody takes it very closely. And I mean, they are taking this very seriously. One example, I'm in here, Johnny photographer, taking pictures all over the place with my phone, and I hadn't been in there 10 seconds for somebody who was very official. And later I learned he was official because he was up on the stage for all the award stuff, came up and asked me what I thought I was doing. He was a little bit nicer than that, but I had to make clear that I was invited, and also make clear that anything that published would not have any numbers on it. They're very serious about the blind judging. They don't want any hint of impropriety. They want to make sure that it's truly blind. Don't want to let anybody put any twos and twos together. So any artwork that I've got from the competition or the judging piece of it, I'm working on to try to get cleaned up, make sure there aren't any numbers in there, and they can put them out there in the world for you guys to see. But it really was a neat experience. I saw Catherine Gaither. She was on the show here a couple of weeks ago, and she's a judge and has been for 24. I think she's out of the 25 years at the Festival of Discovery, and she seemed to be enjoying herself too, as all the judges were. But like she kind of indicated before for the festival itself, they all got to kind of pace themselves. You know, you don't want to eat too much too fast, and that's what you had to do with the People's Choice Awards too. Pace yourself. I got 10 tickets, and gosh, by the time I'd gotten into 3 or 4, I had to slow it down. The rain came at the right time for my People's Choice Award ballot too, because I had a chance to take a break and digest a little and then get back into action and enjoy some of that hash. I had a couple of hashes, by the way. Not my favorite thing in the world, not going to lie, but it was good, and I felt like I needed to try it while I was down there. A lot of pulled pork in the People's Choice, only one brisket sample. So if you think about it next time, maybe get in there in the brisket. Although there were 28 different People's Choice competitors out there, I had a hard time getting to 10. Imagine trying to get to 28 of them. That might be just a little bit too much. Take just a moment to talk a little bit about the economic impact of a festival like this, because it came up a time or two, both in the lead up to the event and kind of during it. Gibson Hill told us in our interview that the festival has an approximate $2.8 million impact economically on the region. There's probably about 50,000 people that attend the festival every year. That's kind of an estimation. And And throughout the festival, you kind of start to get the sense of, well, where is that impact? How is that coming through? And I got that sense not just from looking around, but I heard some people talking. Just some of those people were very public in their pleas for people to, hey, please stay here, don't just pack up and leave. I'll say that grocery business, gas to support the cook teams on site, other vendors coming into town, all those people bring money in. There's hotels. Apparently you can't book a room. There's so many lodging accommodations are filled up by this. There's not much availability. I will say many of the teams, especially the competition only guys, they pull up and camp on site. They've got big RVs. They're just going to stay there and do their thing. Probably a pretty good chance that they may not spend a lot of money in there. And you get a sense that a lot of people who come into town for the festival probably pack up and go right after it's over. I'll confess, I'm guilty of that as well. In some part because I couldn't find an accommodation when it was time to get done. So I hopped in the car and drove back to Hickory after a long and fun day there. I saw some of the other people that were competing doing the same thing along 26 and even up on 85. I passed the barbecue maestros headed back to Indianapolis, Indiana on their road home. So somebody like that, you expect they probably want to try to get on the road as quickly as possible. But it all does kind of raise my question about how much do these folks and how much do the festival really invest in the local businesses around town when they're there? Do they come in here? Do they bring that money? Do they shop in the businesses? Some of them probably do. Some of them, probably not. It's just the way things go sometimes. How many people come from farther away to visit Greenwood that's not involved with the barbecue competition team, that's not involved with a vendor, that also spends money at these restaurants and the businesses beyond the grocery store and the convenience stores and the Dollar Generals in town, other restaurants besides what they're getting? It's hard to say. Don't know that. I'm sure that Gibson and Company has it. There's definitely people that are there and come back year after year for visiting the Festival of Discovery. Not sure how many of the people there are from Greenwood. I would say some. A lot of families were present, a lot of adult couples. Again, a lot of bodies were moving up and down the main street and down towards the sort of the carnival fairgrounds with the rides. I met somebody. Funny thing is, I visited one location, the Flynn's on Maxwell, bumped into somebody, struck up a conversation. They're from Greenwood, turned out to be from my old hometown back in Birmingham, Alabama. So, hey to the Murphy family. Great to meet you guys. Hope you're listening. Thank you for doing so. But it is indicative of some folks from Greenwood come out to the festival. They may come out only for the concerts. They may skip the barbecue part. They may skip it altogether. I do know some of them are probably thinking, hey, is this really helping us? Is this really helping our economy for these folks to come in, do their thing, pack up and leave, especially after we've made all this investment in there? It's hard to say. It's a tough balancing act. But either way, we do know the Festival of Discovery has been doing this thing for 25 years, thanks to sponsors and, of course, the competitors, the judges, the volunteers. At the end of the day, it's a good thing. It has a positive benefit. And I think it's something that's really unique. Everybody should try to check out once in their life. You talk about the balancing act for the festival. It's a tough balancing act for competitors too. Speaking with some of those folks, Southern Sweet or Smoking Sweetmeats, how do you make money? How do you break even when food prices are so high? How is this something that can be workable for somebody that won the championship, $3,000? Kokomoke Smoke Barbecue from Pensacola, Florida. How does Cody drive up to Greenwood, South Carolina and make it a profitable weekend if he doesn't win? So those are all questions that I hope to talk with some of these guys about here in the weeks ahead. We've spoke with it before with our friend Chris Fulmer and Eric Carpenter, Backdraft Barbecue. We saw him at Festival of Discovery as well. And I know it's a struggle for a lot of these people. It's hard work, obviously, and you may or may not get a chance of breaking even, much less making money. But I do know what I've noticed among them is there's really a thick camaraderie among all the competitors. It's a lot like the Carolina Barbecue Festival family, too. Those pitmasters are tight. Same thing happens in a community of people where the competitors are going from place to place. They see each other week after week after week. You build a brotherhood and a barbecue family emerges. And I know that's got to be some things that are driving them. The Fulmers, I mentioned Chris and Kathy, they gather with several friends for a toast before their competitions. Other teams have their own traditions. They work, they spend their time, they spend their money, they spend their gas driving their rig all over the community. So there's a lot that's going into it. And a lot of that has to be, like I said, there's some love there. Really, I guess that's what it's all about. From the competitors to the organizers and the barbecue and the blues music loving people, the love is apparent in the efforts and final products of everything that we saw at Festival of Discovery, whether it's in that styrofoam tray or a People's Choice cup or at the whole event. That you need to be sure and put it on your calendar at least once in your life, if not every year. It's the Festival of Discovery, the weekend after the 4th of July in Greenwood, South Carolina, every year. And that is the final word for this episode of the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. This local barbecue summer season is sponsored by the Carolina Barbecue Festival. Whether you head to the beach, the lake, the mountains, or the city, be sure to visit your local barbecue businesses this summer. Go to CarolinaBBQFest.org for a list of local pitmasters that will help you get started. While you're there, sign up to stay connected, and you'll be the first to know the dates for the 2027 Carolina Barbecue Festival. To our audience, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. If you like what you hear, share our podcast with your food-loving friends. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on your favorite stream. You can find more local barbecue people at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. We've got a library of podcasts, more than 100. A lot of them have feature interviews with local pitmasters. Give them a listen and make your plan to visit their barbecue business this summer. You'll also find our blog, barbecue news, festival and event details. While you're at lowslowbbqshow.com, sign up for the weekly newsletter. We'll deliver you the latest Carolina barbecue news. The Low and Slow Barbecue Show is proud to be a part of the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. That's where Andrew Moose is the producer of our podcast and many others on the Mesh Network, like the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, where I'm your host, Chigger Willard, reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.